Oh no, I can't believe I'm missing this at the presentation. I wonder if I look like an idiot. What was I thinking? Were they upset? Should I have said this differently? I'm so bad at this. I'm never going to get this right.
Will I end up being neither here nor there, living a mediocre life?
Thoughts, and more thoughts. Thoughts that never seem to leave you alone, whether you are at a scenic place or in your living room. Thoughts that may not even look like thoughts, but just a feeling of tension inside your body.
Overthinking is the tendency of churning out excessive thoughts, so much so that you're so caught up in your own thought stream that you might feel paralyzed, unable to move forward and act on whatever you're trying to do, and generally feel like you're not functional in certain areas of your life. And it might happen that you are lost in your own thoughts for hours, not being able to be present and not really being able to pay attention to what's happening around you. And maybe you're not able to listen to your own family, you're not able to stay present to what they are saying. And if that feels familiar, then you're not alone. And ironically, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this problem of overthinking, and I've realized that it's not that thinking itself is bad, but there are two types of thinking. One is productive thinking, and the other is unproductive thinking. The productive thinking is generally thinking that you do consciously, intentionally trying to solve or figure out a certain specific problem that is related to your creative work or a project that you're working on, and it's a specific enough problem that you are able to figure out a solution within a certain frame of time. Now, the unproductive thinking is generally the thinking that we are most caught up with. So 80% of the thoughts that we get are probably thoughts that fall under this bucket. And our unproductive thoughts are the thoughts that make us suffer, that have the most pull, and that get us caught up in the loop of overthinking. And having spent time on this problem of overthinking, I've realized that there are three reasons why we overthink. The first reason is attachment, or our identification with something that's outside of us. A lot of the times, the reason we overthink is because we have thoughts about the fear of failure or what people are going to think, that is judgment from other people, what if scenarios, how things might not work out, life situations which from our perspective is not going well right now. And usually all of these thoughts are about things that are temporary anyway, things that are not going to last in life. And so it means that we have become too attached to whatever this thing might be that is churning out these excessive thoughts of concern or worry, and we have identified the good stuff to be in this thing or object. And by good stuff, I mean feelings of pleasure, happiness, satisfaction, or peace that we have come to associate with this object in our life. And that could be achieving a certain goal, accomplishing something, acquiring something, or gaining approval from others. And if you notice a common thread in all of this, it is trying to find a place for yourself in the world. I used to pride myself on being a thinker, and I loved sitting down and thinking about various aspects of life. But that same tendency would land me in trouble when I had to make a decision, or when there was like something that I was working on that was at stake or that I cared too much about. And at different phases in my life, I felt that because of this tendency to ruminate or overthink certain things, I've fallen into the common trap of analysis paralysis. It's generally because I'm caught up in thoughts of the future, but I'm sacrificing my present in doing that. And now the second reason why we overthink a lot is a deep lack of self-trust. So you find yourself over-planning or mapping out all the what-if scenarios that could happen. You find yourself trying to figure out all possible solutions for a given problem, and you're constantly finding yourself over analyzing every single problem that you are working on. And if that's the case, then it's coming from this feeling that you won't be able to solve for it when you come across something in that given moment. That is, you won't be able to cross the bridge when you get to it. And that normally comes when you don't have trust in yourself, you don't have faith in yourself to deal with that problem in that moment. And there's nothing wrong with planning. I'm all for planning, but sometimes you can dial it down too much on planning rather than going with the flow, and rather than allowing the solution to come up naturally and easily when you're in that situation. So by over preparing for things, you are not allowing for all those spontaneous magical moments that might happen if you don't plan, or for all those adventures that are waiting for you to experience them. The third reason why we overthink is pure habit. Habit of overthinking comes from years of overanalyzing, years of giving into the tendency to ruminate over the thing that you said at a party, or mentally beat yourself over that one question you failed to solve on that exam day. And this habit comes from constantly directing our attention to the same line of thoughts, the same line of thinking, without really pausing a bit or trying to or attempting to break that loop and seeing if you can change the course of events this time around by not giving into those thoughts at all. And this habit comes from actually a habit to control, the habit of not being able to tolerate discomfort, and the habit of not being able to go with the flow, the habit of constantly paying attention to the same set of thoughts without attempting to take a pause and seeing if you can surrender for once and see if the solution comes up of its own accord when the timing is right. Today, in the age of AI and excessive information, it's no wonder that we are feeling overwhelmed and we get lost in the thoughts of the future and what's going to happen. In a sea of data points that you're presented with on a daily basis, it's natural to start questioning where you're going. And overthinking as a tendency can happen when you feel overwhelmed and you don't know what to do, which route to take, which path that you should follow. And in today's age, if you are learning anything new, if you are a beginner, if you are trying to build a business, if you are trying to get better at any sort of work that you're doing, whether it's in an industry like tech or any other industry, and you're trying to become better, you're trying to get promoted, or you're trying to get good at certain things, then you might find yourself feeling overwhelmed at the number of options we have to learn today and the number of things to really become better at. And with AI coming in, it can feel even more like there is no place left for us in the world to express ourselves, to showcase our skills. And so it's no wonder that we are caught up in our thought streams, really unable to figure out what to do next. And in fact, if you find yourself doom scrolling, then I feel that is no different from overthinking either. It's just another dimension added to this whole problem of overthinking. And now, instead of getting lost in your own thought stream, you are getting lost in thoughts of others and contents that others are producing. So that is no different from the problem of overthinking. And this whole problem of overthinking leaves you feeling depleted and leaves you feeling quite anxious and stressed, and your nervous system feeling compromised. When you're feeling that way, what I've realized is you don't need a lot of techniques and lot of resources now to counter that problem, because that just worsens the problem. So you don't need a lot of things. All you need to do is figure out how you can simplify in your life. And by simplification, I mean that find the areas in your life where instead of adding more data points, you might be better off having less. So try to figure out areas where you can start eliminating data points. Maybe you're trying to get to work and really excel at the problems that you have been given. What you can do is, for a few days, don't think about the outfit that you are going to be wearing every day. Like, just choose few set of outfits beforehand on the weekend, so that you're making it easier for yourself to think about less things when you actually need time to think about the project you're working on. So eliminate the data points where needed and simplify things so you can figure out the productive set of thoughts that are okay for you to indulge in, versus thoughts that are not really making any difference to your life. So that includes thoughts of complaining, thoughts of blaming others, any negative thoughts that actually just hold you back and keep you from executing on the things that matter. All those thoughts, start identifying them and eliminating them one by one. And all mindful practices like meditation, going for a walk, exercising, or doing breath work, they help to create that space within yourself where you feel less overwhelmed and where you feel like you have more control over your thought space. And the simplest thing you can do when you feel overwhelmed is just taking deep breaths so that you can return back to a calmer frame of mind. And whenever you find yourself caught up in this rumination cycle, just take 2 seconds to take a pause and notice how you're breathing. Bring all your attention back into your body instead of keeping it within the thought loop, and then deeply exhale out. Few deep breaths can help break through the cycle of thoughts. And another tip that I have found useful is constantly reminding oneself that being identified in outside objects is of no use, because they're not guaranteed a permanent position in our lives. And at any point they might be stripped away and they might be taken away. So we might as well learn the knack of not being attached to them. And the more effort you put into simplifying things in your life, you can put your attention on only the essential things that matter to you, the more you will be able to see the benefits of having less things in your environment that distract you and pull you away from being in the present moment, and really increasing that satisfaction you feel when you're very present. And over time, this starts changing your brain chemistry and your wiring, so you are able to be better at decision making. You have higher awareness to notice more patterns and resolve more patterns that have been holding you back, and you have more clarity to understand what you need in your life to be able to constantly choose to be in a joyful state. And overall, it reduces noise in your system, and you are able to become better at reading the intuitive signals that you receive from life.